Hey, welcome to the Huntsville Hustle podcast brought to you by our friends at Vandy's Heating and Air, where we highlight the small businesses that are the backbone of the Rocket City here. And our guest today is LeAnn Young, and she's the owner of Young Concierge Care. We're very excited to learn about this business that you probably need to know about. So, LeAnn, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks everyone. Thanks for having me, Joe.
Absolutely, yeah. So you're kind of new to Huntsville, so I want more people to meet you. And like I said, they probably
Yeah,
will need you if they don't need you now. So tell us a little
sure.
about who you are and what Young Concierge Care does.
Well, my name is LeAnn Young, and I am the founder of Young Concierge Care here in Huntsville, Alabama. I am a fully insured private duty elder care service, and my whole mission with this operation is to raise the standard of care here in Huntsville. I keep a limited client capacity so I can deliver that proper care that I feel is missing. And, I focus heavily on safety, nutrition, preventative wellness, and professional oversight.
There you go. Yeah, raise the standard. I like that. I like how you
Yeah,
bring that up. Hey, let's bring. We don't have to settle for that, right? So,
that's right.
what what led you into this line of work?
Well, originally, even long before being a caregiver, I've been worked in healthcare many years of my life, almost over a decade now. And what I witnessed within the healthcare system was the lack of true care and support between elders and the families. And so after spending so long of watching that and being a part of it, he decided to get out of the healthcare system to help navigate families with that. And that led into caregiving, that led into a live-in caregiver, and here I am.
There you go. Yeah. So, like I
Yeah.
say, you moved to Huntsville, and where was that moment you realized this? Hey, there's really a need for what I do here in Huntsville.
Yeah, so when I realized that, it was at the end of last year, actually, and this whole year I spent working on my YCC mission to raise the standard of care.
There you go. So yeah, so you come in here, and I'm not in your business, but I know that people need what you do because I see it all the time with my clients. I have clients that are taking care of aging parents and the things they go
Mhm.
through, and there's definitely someone that needs
Right.
to step in and help with
Yes.
that. What's something that people tend to misunderstand about what you do?
Well, I think there's a lot of confusion between standard care and concierge care. I think when people hear like concierge, they think of like luxury, which is not the case. So the standard care model typically is covered by insurance. The private concierge model is not. And also the concierge model very selective with clients and only serves a very limited number of clients. So that a way that care can be properly oversighted versus the other agencies. I'm not sure if I'd have done that. They typically accept insurance, and they revolve around a high volume clientele and a rotating caregiver.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't know that. See, you taught me something on something
Yeah.
already. What kind of people do you typically reach out for that need help?
Believe it or not, Joe, it's actually not the client themselves. It is the adult kids that are usually serving as the caregiver first until they kind of max out or get burnt out or overwhelmed. And then they usually start reaching out to me.
One of the most stressful things you can do is be a caregiver for a loved
Whew.
one.
Yeah, it's hard. It's one of the things I really truly don't recommend.
Yeah. So there's someone that could do that for you. If only we knew
Yeah.
someone,
Yeah.
YCC could help them with that. So
Hey.
when these families do come into you, what are they typically feeling emotionally when they first contact you?
Yeah, so like I was saying before, usually the families are the first caregivers and they do everything they can until they get burnout. They're emotionally exhausted. Maybe they have a level of anger. Maybe there's some animosity going on, exhaustion, confusion, and really not knowing what to do next for their loved one. And also, they're still trying to juggle their family and their careers. So usually it's just a very stressful, overwhelming emotions.
A lot of people out there, they're in that kind of that sandwich generation. We're taking care of aging parents and still
Yeah.
their own kids. That's a tough
Yeah. Well,
situation to
you've
be
got
in.
you've got young kids, and then you've got your older parents, which I don't want to say they become like kids, but I
But
mean
they do.
that's it's the level of care they need. They're not kids. It's the level of care they need is very similar to what a child would need.
So you deal with a lot of struggles with the caregivers and things like that. What's one of the biggest struggles that they face that a lot of people don't understand?
Oh, I'm sorry. What was the first part of your question?
What's the you deal with a lot of caregivers, people been taking care of their parents and things like that. What's one of the biggest struggles they have that people just don't tend to understand?
I think one of the biggest struggles is the weight we carry. We are carrying the family stress, our personal stress, the stress from a loved one, and that overwhelming exhaustion. We are taking that away and we are carrying it, which is what we do best, truly. But it is heavy to carry.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
You guys are kind of emotionally unattached, so it's not like someone that taking care of mom's different than you taking care of someone. Don't get me wrong, you guys are doing like taking the level of care to the next level, but you don't have those emotional attachments that we all have that just take you to that next level of frustration and burnout and all those different things.
Exactly, exactly, and which brings me back to it's just something I have always told people. I just don't recommend families to take care of families. It's great. It's a great thought. It's a great idea, but I just don't think we live in those times anymore where we can.
Yeah, I think you brought up a big word, the animosity. I think you see that a
Yeah.
lot. You don't want that kind of towards the end stages, like you got to take this obligation where you don't
Yes.
want that with a loved one, right? Hire that. You get someone that can
I
help
I
you do it.
see a lot of that, where maybe it was a great loving family and then both parents need help. Maybe there's only one child to help. I mean, yeah, it develops a lot of attention and that kind of animosity and anger too.
That's it. So how do you
Yeah.
guys help with that? What do you guys specifically do? What services do you provide for these families?
Yeah, so what I specialize in is healthcare navigation. So usually that's where a lot of the stress is the medications, getting the parents to appointments, figuring out what the doctors are doing and what they should be doing at home. So all of those things are being professionally managed by me. We also do some preventative wellness things like with all my clients, I like to do UTI prevention support, which is a monthly antiseptic wipes that they can use. I use those for my other clients and it works great keeping, promoting UTI health.
That's a huge problem with a lot of the elderly that we'll
Yeah.
see that can almost, identify as dementia or something else, and it turns out it goes
Yes.
back to
Yes.
UTIs.
Yeah. UTIs with older people, they're presented much differently than like, someone our age or younger. And it has to do with the blood-brain barrier and the degeneration, but that's something a lot of people don't understand is something as simple as a UTI could be prevented in the home, which would eliminate hospitalizations and rehabs and what I've noticed too, Joe, is when they do get a UTI, they get hospitalized and then it's just kind of a downhill battle from there.
So let's just avoid all that.
Let's just avoid it. Yeah, let's just avoid it. And a lot of care agencies, they only come in when there is the problem.
Yeah,
Versus me, I like to focus a lot on the preventative wellness side of things and healthy living.
that's what we want right there. So, I mean, you're all about raising the standard care. So what
Oh
does
yeah.
that good care look like for you?
Good care, it is calm. I can't stress that enough. Good care should be calm. Good care should be not stressful. It should be warm. It should be reliable. It should feel safe. And essentially, you are kind of coming into this family. This family is adopting you, so to speak. So it becomes very deeply personal. So, we operate like they are our family.
Yeah, you're not just going to get that everywhere. We've talked before. We sat down, had coffee, and talked about your business. How you're not just hiring anybody. You're hiring specific
No.
people
Yes,
for specific roles.
yes. The people I bring on, are very much aligned with the YCC mission. I believe anybody can be a caregiver, right? Anybody can say I'm a caregiver, but it's having that drive and that passion where you just can't help but to be a caregiver. No matter what you do, you always come back to being a caregiver, and those are the people that I'm looking for. And they also want to raise the standard of care. I'm not the only one that as a caregiver wants to bring more to people. It's just figuring out how.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Your passion spills over, and just these little things you can do that make a huge difference.
Yeah.
What's some of the things you do for those elderly clients? It's something that makes a huge difference, but it's so small for you to do.
Hydration, just trying to get some more fluids in them. You wouldn't believe how their mental status becomes more positive just because they're hydrated. They're feeling better. They're mentally a little bit clearer. They look better. And just promoting hydration, just that small act of service goes so far in someone's quality of life. Another thing would be, not taking anything away from people. As caregivers, we want to help your loved ones live better. A lot of elders, maybe they're no longer in contact with their social groups that they used to be a part of. So what I love to do is bring them back to what they were once before, and try to get them more social, out and about, experiencing nature, all the little activities that everyone should do, young or old.
Yeah, well, that just has such a huge effect on your overall health. When
It
you're not
does.
socializing, you're not getting outside, you're not going
Yeah.
anywhere. Your health declines very fast. So
It
that's a good way
does.
to do it.
So yeah, it does. And a lot of people, they just focus on tasks and what the problem is now versus how can we help mom or dad just continue living their life the best way possible. That's where I
Yeah.
come in.
Yeah. I think it's a shame that we just kind of shove the older people away, just kind of lock them away, just forget about that, and just
Yeah.
it's a shame.
It is sad. I kind of have a little theory about that. Several, hundreds of years ago we were all like in tribes, right? So, but long before internet, we relied on our elders for wisdom, to teach the women how to cook, raise good men, have babies, and we valued our elders for their wisdom and their education. And now there's social media and the internet, and we don't need elders like we did. So yeah, they are unfortunately kind of pushed aside because what purpose do they have?
Yeah.
And
You
I think
look at
that's a
it,
that's a big struggle for the elder because they feel that and know that as well. And it becomes a lack of purpose, which also speeds up the decline and the mental confusion and things. So it's
yeah.
sad.
Everyone needs to wake up, and have a purpose, right? I don't care what age
Yeah.
you are. You need that
Yeah.
purpose. So
I mean,
that's it.
even if I can get them just waking up, feeling good and have a cup of coffee with me and chatting. I mean, I think those little things just go so far, and I think a lot of people don't quite realize that those small things matter.
And they still have time to give. You just got they're a great
Yeah.
resource for a lot of
Yes.
things. You got
Yes. I
time
mean,
to
I learn a lot from my clients. I am not always the giver. Sometimes they give me great deals of advice. Or one client I had, she was my own personal fashion assistant. So when I take her shopping, she wasn't just shopping for herself. She was helping me pick out my clothes and what to wear. And she's a little fashionista, but she had better fashion than I did at 88 years old.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. See, you can learn something if you're willing to be
Yeah,
a student for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So,
And
uh,
that's what I love about also what I do is I love learning, and you can always learn something from these older people too.
absolutely, yeah. So, if we do have maybe have an aging parent in my family or something like that, what are some signs that I might need a little additional support?
Yeah, that's a good question. A lot of the times the signs are very subtle. Maybe it's something as simple as just staying home more, some self-isolation. Maybe they don't want the family to come over as much because they're doing great. Maybe it is having medications but not getting them at the pharmacy or not taking them for whatever reason. Maybe they're just confused. They don't know how to take them. They don't know what they're taking. Malnutrition. A lot of the times I see malnutrition when I first come into the homes. And to me, that is a very big sign of someone needing some support. They could be in the best of spirits, but you can physically look at them and see what they need. So yeah, those would be all things that I would look for and that I would recommend people to look for in their loved ones. And you know your parents more than anybody. Don't be in denial. Recognize these changes and do something now to restore that quality.
There you go. Yeah, I think a lot of people do get in denial about it because they
Yeah.
don't want to admit it's going on. So yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah.
So we mentioned it earlier, people that are juggling, they still got their younger kids and their family, but also their work, their family, older aging parents. So how do you help people juggle all those things?
Yeah, it's tough. Like I said, I do a lot of the navigation part for families, which takes a great deal of stress away. And my goal is to help the elder get more back into a homeostasis and stable routine, which then kind of transfers over into the family. So it's kind of like a chain reaction. So once I start that care and the families are seeing improvement, they see that mom or dad is happy, and they're just like living their life again. It's almost like the family can just and breathe again and go back to being a family.
You know, someone listening right now said, I need that in my life right now. So yeah, that's what you
we're
need. So
we're here for you.
that's what you do, right? So
Yeah.
on another end, I want to ask you more on the business side. What's been kind of the hardest part of building this business?
That's a good question. I think the hardest part about building this business is just the emotional aspect of it, because the more involved I get in the business, the more struggles I see between families and elders. So you take it a little personally. So staying on the professional and personal line has been a challenge, because just naturally as a person I am a giver. I want to help, and it's hard to see that. It's hard to see that. So I have to remember that, this is also a business as well.
Yeah, it's a fine line to walk for sure, and it
It
takes
is.
takes a
It is.
while to get used to. So what is something running this business taught you about yourself? I mean, you learn a lot as a business owner. What have you learned about yourself?
I have learned a great deal about myself. I have learned personal growth. I have learned more patience, I think, than I have ever learned. And also just learning more about the Huntsville community, I think has been the best part. I love being involved in the community, learning what other people do. So I really enjoy that.
Going to a new area and starting a brand new business is not for the faint of heart. So I'm sure you had
No,
to.
it's not, especially when you're a transplant here in Huntsville. So, kind of starting from zero, but
You're
it's
doing a
been
great
fun.
job. You're doing good. You can tell you love what you do. You're passionate about it. It's definitely filling a need. So it's going to work out for sure. So when you did first start, what's something you wish you could tell yourself when you had first started?
To be a little bit more patient with myself. When I first started this business, I mean, I was ready to rock and roll. I'm like, I know there's families out there need me. But I also, that is my nature. When I'm ready to do something, I go in 100%. I deep dive, and here I am. I'm ready to work. But with care, it takes much longer. Families need more time to get through that denial process. Not just the families, but the client too, who is trying to accept care. Because when people hear the word care, it's kind of like the end all, but that's something I'm trying to change too. Support should not feel shameful.
Not at all. Yeah.
No.
I'll say thing, my fitness business, I know it's a problem with, you share something with me. Being awesome at your job, you know how awesome you are and how much you can help someone. You're like, you should join now. You'll be so much closer to your
I
goals.
and that's my mentality. I'm like, I know this will help. If, come on people, but it is being patient with those families, because a lot of people are still trying to do what they can. And I commend you for that. Some families, they go years being the sole caregiver until they get help. And by then, I mean, they're even struggling with their own physical decline or health decline, because they've provided so much care to someone else. Everything gets ignored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, yeah, patience. Yeah. Now I
Tough.
tell
Yeah.
people
Lot
that
of
they're a more
patience. Lot of patience.
mature person that you're ready when you're ready. That's what I tell them
That's
now. You're
right.
ready when you're ready. I'm here for you when you're there. So we're gonna switch it up a little bit. We're gonna go to the rapid fire section right here. It's brought
Okay.
to you by Huntsville Hub. So that's Huntsville's co-working home for solopreneurs, small teams. You can skip the kitchen table, skip the noisy coffee shop. get the desk, the meeting room, the community your business needs, and just go ahead and book a tour at huntsvillehub.com. If you mention Huntsville Hustle, you get a free day pass. Just putting that out there. You want to go check
All
it
right.
out. So we're going to start these guys right here. What's your favorite local Huntsville restaurant?
My local restaurant, I have really enjoyed Good Company. I don't like franchises, but I love a small, quaint, and they have great coffee. Good Company, 10 out of 10.
Oh, yeah. Great folks over there, too. So, what's something not many people know about you?
I'm naturally, believe it or not, I'm naturally introverted more than people expect, and I genuinely recharge through quietness.
Me and you share that same thing. I tell people I'm an introvert by nature, extrovert by profession. You got to
Listen,
do it.
just because you're an introvert doesn't mean you don't know how to talk either. I just wanted to put that out there.
But yeah, I'm with you. I got to recharge. I can do stuff,
Yeah,
but I'm gonna need a nap. I need a
that's
nap
right.
afterwards. What's one thing that you think instantly makes someone a great caregiver that you can see in them?
Emotional awareness, um, to be emotionally aware of their own capacity and what they are capable of doing. Because if we are burning out as a caregiver, we cannot provide the level of support. And even caregivers need support too, Joe. So the emotional awareness for sure.
Great answer right there. So, what's the most underrated quality in a person, in your opinion?
Consistency.
Man, don't we all want someone consistent in our lives? That's
Yes,
yeah. So
reliability and consistency.
yeah. So what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Pass along your own advice or pass along the advice because you'll never take your own.
That's for that's for sure.
That's so
What
true.
I do it all the time. I was like, maybe I should take my own advice. Nah, I'll pass it on. That's good. What's one word you hope families feel after working with you?
Relief.
That's perfect right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
relief.
So, if someone is listening right now and they're overwhelmed trying to take care of a loved one and they're at the end of the wits end, what would you tell that person?
Just start reaching out for support. Knowledge is power, and a lot of people before they act, they need to attain some information on knowing what to do next and what is there in their best interest and for their loved ones as well. So just start reaching out. Just start talking to people. You'd be surprised what happens.
Segue right here. Let's say people want to connect with you, they want to work with you. What's your website, your contact info? How can people find you?
Oh, yeah. So I am active on Facebook at Young Concierge of Huntsville, Alabama. And my website is www.youngcareco.com. And my telephone number is 863-701-5879. And I just want to encourage people to reach out, no pressure to get care, but I also love navigating. So if someone needs some support, if you have a question, maybe you don't know what to do when the family gets home from the hospital or your loved one gets home from the hospital, I'd love to help.
That's great. You have so many resources and information that a lot of people don't have. So you're great about that. So reach out. She's definitely going to be well. She's super passionate about what she does. You can tell it comes away across from her. So that's great right there. And then I like to ask people, how can our Huntsville Hustle podcast community help you this month?
Honestly, just the referrals and the conversations help tremendously. And I keep going back to my YCC mission is to raising the standard of care, and it all starts with conversation and getting everybody on that same page. But I can't do it by myself.
Can't do it. Need a little help. And if you're out there, you don't have to take care of your loved ones by yourself either. That's where LeAnn, her team comes in. So you can reach out to her. We'll link all her information in show notes. So LeAnn, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for what you're doing. I think you fill in a need that
Thanks, Joe.
really someone needs to do, and you're the person for it.
Thanks, Joe. I appreciate you having me here. And again, I love what I do.
You could tell. You could tell. I mean, just give LeAnn a call, and it'll come across even through the phone. That's how passionate she is. So I appreciate you coming on, LeAnn. I appreciate our sponsors. I thank you for our sponsors, Vandy's Heating and Air, the best in business. I'm just telling you, Home in Huntsville, the newsletter. Get signed up for that newsletter. If you want to know what's going on in Huntsville with restaurants, businesses, job applications, homes, everything, pets, they got it all. Everything's in there. Huntsville Hub, we mentioned them earlier. Go take that tour. You'll love it. And then if you need a website or some marketing, McWilliams Marketing, the best in the biz here in Huntsville. LeAnn, thanks for coming on, and I appreciate everybody here listening. We'll see you guys next week on the Huntsville Hustle Podcast.
Thank you.